we want to use our exhaust fan, use the digital output 5. We want to use our exhaust fan, and here you can go into the parameters. If I go into the cooling coils, how many stages do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, or analog. So it's supposed to have 4 stages. So here you have all your set points and your differentials. Our minimum on time, minimum off time as well. If we go into the analog, all this becomes grayed out. We have our little analog right here. So what's our range? 0 to 10, 2 to 10, depending if it's like a valve or something like that. It can be reverse acting, so if it's normally open, normally closed, as you wish. Let's go back to here. Remember before on the image we had 2 coils. If I put just 1 stage, well, I only have 1 coil, which appears. Although we only show up to 2, we don't show 4. Or else it would look way too bunched up altogether. So, same thing for the heating. I'll double click. So here we have digital output 4, digital output 5, and analog output 1. So these are the 2 digital, and here's our modulating output. So as you can see, with these 3 outputs, we can have up to 3 stages. We can have 2 stages and a modulating, even the modulating can be pulsed, can be reverse acting, can be reverse acting pulsed. I don't know where you use that, but if you wanted to, it's there. Okay. Let's see what else. If I double click on any of the temperature sensors, it'll bring me to the limits page. So basically we have 3 sections to this. We have our basically each section for each sensor. So the return air, the supply air, and the outside air. Okay. So as an example, if we're looking at the return air, we'll stop cooling the first stage when we reach this temperature in the return. But before that, the second stage will be turned off at this temperature. We'll stop heating if it ever gets hotter than 95 degrees. That's not normal. And the same thing for all the other sensors. So I could go through each one of these, but you guys get the idea of how it works.
Back on your limits, on your stop cooling on your supply temp, does that just stop the DX, keeps the economizer going?
Yeah,
well, or does that completely kill it?
No, I mean with the economizer, it depends on the economizer because he also has his own
okay, so the economizer has his own
settings.
Limits. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
We're talking about economizer. Let's go see the economizer.
Let's go see the economizer.
Let's go see it.
I like that segue. I helped you out.
Thank you. You're doing a very good job. Very good job. So if I double click on my fresh air damper, it brings me to my economizer function. So here's our set point, our outdoor temperature changeover. So basically, we're only going to enable our economizer function if it gets like this or cooler.
Both.
Okay. So high lockout element.
Exactly. So if it gets warmer than that, well then there's no point in using hot air to try to cool down your system, right? So here you can change the value. Here's our damper set point. We also have a permit mechanical cooling with economizer. We added this in because we had some contractors coming to us saying like, okay, my economizer is working, but I'd like to turn on my stages also. It kind of defeats the purpose,
Not really.
I mean, it's open and free cooling.
It's easier to cool 65 degree air than it is to cool 75. Typically I'll run the economizer up to 65, even 70 degrees, particularly if I'm looking at humidity, if I'm looking at outdoor humidity, because for that reason it's easier to cool 65, 70 degree air than it is to cool the return air at 75. So.
Well, there we go. So, so this option is available if you guys want. You can just click it and then just put in your set point and so on. You can put what the minimal damper position is, all the while keeping a minimum supply temperature of whatever you like. Here's our output range, 0 to 10 or 2 to 10.
So you're just coming out of unoccupied, and you get a cooling demand, free cooling is enabled. If it's far enough off set point, you're automatically going to kick into mechanical cooling if you have selected. Is there any kind of a time delay option on that, or?
That's the morning ventilation.
Oh, here? Okay, well, yeah, here in the morning ventilation, here we go. It says,
Oh, okay.
morning ventilation period is activated after transition to occupied mode.
There you go.
So, there we go. Thank you, Ryan.
Good job, Larry, man. Good job, Larry, man.
Split it with you.
All right. Okay, what else? What else? Okay, here we have a bypass. All right, we'll double click on it. So here we have our set points. We have the differential. Here are our input ranges for our sensors. The damper opening. You know, is it clockwise or counterclockwise? Opening delay, our output range. Supposing we don't have a bypass, we have a variable frequency drive instead. No problem. Go to config, edit display, variable frequency drive. Apply. There we go. No more bypass, but we have a drive now. Okay. Supposing it's a constant volume, right? We see some of those. Just do none. Apply. Now we got none. It's constant. All right. Okay. We were looking at the fresh air damper. Suppose we want to add a CO2 sensor, right? I want to configure. Oh, and by the way, everything that I double click on the graphics and I enter the configuration, you can also access it through the config menu. So cooling will bring you the cooling coils, heating, fan, etc. So if I go to the dampers, economizer, CO2 control, enable it. So we'll have our set point and the proportional. Apply. My CO2 sensor has appeared right here. So basically the CO2 sensor and the economizer function will both be working on the fresh air damper, and basically whichever feature has a higher value will win. So, okay. One of the interesting features is if I right click an element, there's a stage 1 cooling, you can override it from here. So I can just override, let's do on. Of course, it's kind of weird because my heating is also on at the same time, but if you wanted to, you know, just try to test it out. As you can see, every time you override something, it starts flashing yellow. So it's trying to give you like a visual. It's overridden. Now, supposing you've been working on your system, configuring it, and you've overridden a bunch of things, and then you take most of them off, then you forget that one that you kind of forgot, and then you press exit. Warning: certain parameters are still overridden. Would you like to continue? Yes, no. There's also a resume normal button as well. If you just do that, this will remove all the overrides. So it's kind of two different ways of trying to take these overrides off.
This software is free.
Completely.
Yeah, Larry.
How about that?
Special for you today only.
50% margin.
If you want to pay licensing fees.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be more than happy to license it for
Renewal
you.
fees.
This is better than some of the ones you do have to pay for.
Okay, what next? Fans and that pressure limits. Where's the limits? Okay. We'll go into a few interesting things. Okay, here we got that schedule we were talking about, right? Start at 7 a.m. and finish at 6 a.m. every day. 6 p.m. And we also have a holiday right here. So what day is a holiday, you might ask, or may not ask. Go into calendar, here you choose which day is a holiday. So then that calendar of the holiday will be applied to these specific
I'm sure you
days.
guys would say something.
So
I like his holidays. He picked his delivery.